Okay, there we go. Welcome, welcome. My name is Sue Jansen, and welcome and thank you for tuning in to Living and Loving Each Day, Bridging Barriers. So, this podcast and my work focuses on supporting parents, caregivers, and service providers of children and adults with adaptive needs, and just aiming to bridge those barriers in every aspect of their life. And today I'm excited to introduce you to my beautiful guest, and her name is Kelly. And I've got it, yeah, you'll have to get Kelly. I'm going to get your exact pronunciation here from you just in a second. So, Kelly is a board certified hypnotist by the National Guild of Hypnotists, NGH, that's it. NGH Hypnosis instructor. She's in Long Island and New York chapter president, and she holds a doctorate degree in metaphysical hypnosis, a PhD in holistic life counseling, and is trained in holistic psychology. So she's parts therapy. You'll have to explain that one to me. HeartMath, of course, I know about that, and shadow coaching, general trauma as well. So she has a lot of expertise in a lot of these wonderful areas. She's the author of 3 published books and several published articles, and a public speaker. She's co-producer of an upcoming short film about general trauma. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. And I'm so excited to introduce Kelly to you. So please tell us about you. I want to hear all about you. And I know that your 3rd book is special. So we're going to be tapping into that right after as well. So
thank you, Susan. Thank you for that intro. About me, yes, I am an author of 3 books, and my latest book just won an award, and I wanted to talk about what that's about because it's very important for us all to understand that we have barriers to loving ourselves. And the book is called Breaking the Barriers to Self-Love. And I know a lot of us talk about on a conscious level, of course I love myself, and it's true. We do love ourselves, but we don't realize we're not loving all of ourselves. And that's where the parts therapy comes in, because we have parts of us that we have suppressed. And now those parts of us are living in our subconscious mind. So when I say subconscious mind, don't think about the head, think about the body. The subconscious runs through the body. So what we bury in our subconscious mind is any kind of traumatic experience, usually during childhood when we didn't have the cognitive ability or the maturity to be able to understand it, so we couldn't process it. So we suppress it so that we can go on with life. If we couldn't suppress it, we would probably freeze and become frozen in that moment and not be able to function at all. So our brain has this amazing ability to suppress what we can't handle. So what I mean by parts therapy is you have that part of you that matured, but you have another part of you that did not emotionally mature. That part is still frozen in the space and time of some traumatic event that has not been fully healed because you were too young to process it. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I help you bridge these parts together so that you can help this part that's suppressed come into your conscious awareness so that it can be fully processed. And I do it in a way where you don't have to re-experience the pain. Okay. So what I mean by that is if you re-experience, it could re-traumatize you and then really bring you down. So using hypnosis, not only do I take you into a beautiful state where your body is so relaxed, but your mind becomes more focused inward. In other words, there's no distractions outside of you. When there's no distractions outside of you, your intuition is actually more expansive because you're tuned inward. Inside of you is your spiritual energies, your intuition. It's in the innermost part of your mind. So that's your connection to universal source is through this innermost part of you. And you can get that through into the heart by getting into the body and connecting with that subconscious part of you. Mm. So once I get you into that relaxed place and I relax your mind so that you're tuned inwards, then I start doing simple techniques to expand your intuition. And then I tell you that you're leaving your body and only going into your spirit body. And the reason I do this because the trauma is in your body. Yeah. That's where you buried it.
That makes sense.
So if I have you out of the body, you don't have to re-experience it, but you can examine it, witness it, and observe it from a high level of awareness. And when I say high level of awareness, we're talking your spirit. What is spirit? Spirit is all love, all compassion, all understanding, all knowing. So all of a sudden you have this deep knowing that you are valuable. It's just that that episode, that event, that person made you believe you weren't. So
Yes.
I help you see yourself from that higher level. But also in that higher level, I help you understand that you're also connected spiritually to all other spirits, whether they're still in the body or whether they left their body, because when we're in spirit, we're all one consciousness. So I'll have you even tap into and channel the people you still have an issue with. So you can understand what was going on inside of them that they projected onto you, and then you took it on as if it was your own. And once you see that it was just a projection and that it came from a wounded place within them, it helps you release it from your energy. Because you somehow believe you were the one at fault. You were the one should be shamed. You're the one that should feel unworthy when you don't realize that was a projection onto you. You'll see that. It'll be very clear to you once you're in that higher level of
Wow.
consciousness.
Wow. Where were you when I was little?
Right, me too. Where was I when I was little, right?
That is amazing. And
It's
that
powerful.
is a different approach because I understand. I am a victim of those childhood trauma things that you're
Hmm.
talking about. So I understand how not going back and reliving it again and just because you feel that. I never
Yeah.
thought about it though as that the trauma is the subconscious is in your body. I've never because that makes sense to me though. That's really really interesting. So this is your third book, and this is the one that you're
Third book.
talking. So this and how any plans for that for you? Like, what are you anticipating? Or is it published yet? Is it
It's
launched?
published and it actually just won an award for the best personal development book by
Okay, my
the
apologies. I'm sorry. I heard
National.
you say that, but I was
Yeah,
listening to I could
yeah.
put in on something else you were saying, and so I'm sorry. So that's very exciting, and we'll make sure that in the program notes you'll have all of Kelly's information so that you'll be able to find her book. Yes, I type it up in the show notes so people can find you easy. Oh, thank you so much. And what's the biggest thing that you've learned from all of this? Like, what did you have any ahas after putting all this? Because I know what it's like writing a book and putting it's such a long sequence of time and things that you do. But was there any one thing that just was a wow for you?
Yeah,
And
it all kind of unfolded during my own journey of healing because I had to learn how to love myself. I had to learn how to heal those parts of me that were trapped. I did grow up in a dysfunctional home like so many of us.
yeah,
And and I was trapped. I was stuck in this trap for years. And I realized that my behaviors were showing up as somebody who was wounded, but I didn't see it. Other people saw it. We don't see our own wounds. We just act because we're acting from the body. So what people don't understand is 90 to 95% of our behaviors comes from the subconscious, and only
yes,
5 to 10% comes from conscious awareness. So
that's
most of us are not even aware of these behaviors and this dysfunction in ourselves
right.
that we basically are, you can call it a victim, but basically we pulled it in when we were children because we were trying to adapt to the needs of the people we needed to take care of us. And when
Hmm.
we adapted to their needs, we lost control of who we are. And
Hmm.
so we grow up with this false sense of self, which is not conducive to living in your spirit. So that's why I work with people to teach them how to live back into their spirit and to love and honor their self.
Whoops.
um, Adaptations that they created as children and where they bonded in negative ways for the sake of survival. So it's
Right.
about getting them out of that survival mode. So my first book was written many years ago and it's called Healing Our Unhealed Parts. And it just teaches you how to deal with those parts of you. But my second book is called The Voiceless Soul. And that's who we are before we had that voice to express it and
Oh,
everything was in the body. So either we couldn't express it or we were afraid to express it. So it's got to be held in the body, right?
mhm.
So
Yes.
that book is I'm creating a short film that be coming out around September, and that's based on generational trauma, how it
Oh,
gets down to the generations. Because if your mother and father didn't heal, and their mother and father didn't heal, you're now carrying the bag, right?
wow.
It's about
And
taking responsibility and breaking that cycle.
Oh, because we don't want, like I was mentioning one of the courses I was in, Happy for No Reason. I'm a certified trainer in that. And one of the biggest things that I found, and that was during COVID, so that was just a few years ago, but is just being responsible for everything, like you're responsible, just knowing that I'm responsible, but also changing that narrative that I'm not a victim. I am a victor, and I've overcome all these things. So, but again, that's cognitive. That's not in the body yet. Like so I see where you're going on that third book. That's really, it's a deeper dive, and I really appreciate that. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, the third book is about learning how to honor yourself as that cycle breaker and not be afraid of it, and to realize you were chosen for this. Because yes, you're holding the bag now, but you also came in during a time, during an era, during a revolution of rising up. So you're being invited to
Yeah.
be your ancestors' prayers. You're
Wow.
invited to answer those prayers for them because they were trapped. They didn't have this evolution of consciousness rising where we're engaging in it now. The
Yeah.
whole planet is changing to a higher level, right? They didn't have that. So we need to understand that we were chosen for this cycle breaking. We're the way showers, the change makers. And
Wow.
we have to honor that and not look at it like victims, but look at it like, wow, yes, I am holding the bag for all of that pain running through my ancestral line,
Yeah.
but I have more awareness than they've ever had. So that
Right.
makes me the change maker.
That's exactly true. Yeah.
And when we can embrace that, we
Yeah.
can come back to our true selves and say, okay, it's a tall order, but I get it and I can do this
We can
because I
do
know who
this.
I am. Yeah. So this is about coming back to self, getting out of that false sense of self that you have been playing to adapt to everybody's expectations of you and saying, no,
Mm.
no expectations of me. I have to find me now. And once
Oh,
you do that, you'll understand why you needed to create that false self. It was for a sense of survival. Same thing your ancestors
oh,
did. Understand your shadow self, that you put parts of you into the shadowy place because you felt that they were rejected parts of you. So now
yeah.
you reject them, which means you're not integrated into your whole self yet. So it's
Mm.
about taking all three books and integrating us all back to who we really are. Okay.
Mhm.
Loving on your ancestors. Believe me, they did the best they could, as
Oh, of course.
dysfunctional as they were.
I,
But don't, yeah, they were, right? But
Oh,
you know,
100%. Yeah, that's
to,
something I see all the
yeah,
negative things that happen, but I also see that's really the best that she could have done for me, my mother. So I totally
exactly.
understand that. And I've taken that I understand that. So we can actually, based on what you're saying, we can actually be heroes for our own children. It's like we can
Yes, we change the cycle and we really help them
yeah.
get that chance to live that sovereignty, that freedom, that emotional
Mm,
uplifting, and to just tap into their true self and just love and honor them and let them explore the world through their true self and not their false self. Yeah,
mm,
we are here to do that. The world is changing, and our children came in with an even higher energy than us, and they came in as our teachers to show us that they're ready and we have to be ready for them.
yeah. Well, that's exciting. That's very positive.
Yes,
Even though like you said, most of us have survived the chaos in the home, and
yeah.
so that's a real positive perspective and something to look forward to too. So I love what you're doing. This is great. I can't wait for your the documentary. I'll watch for that. Where are you sitting, Kelly? Like, where are you physically sitting?
I'm in my office in Long Island, New York.
Well, in New York, of course, that's where you are. So I'm up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So we're like
Oh,
way up
okay.
north.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I have a lot of beautiful guests on from all over the world. So I really appreciate that. That's where you're from. So Kelly, tell me. And I was looking at your last name is Tala. It's
Tallaksen.
Talakin. Okay, I want to
Tallaksen. Tallaksen.
Talaksen. Okay,
There
perfect.
you
I want to
go.
make sure I pronounce that correctly.
Don't worry, everybody butchers it. I'm used to it.
Talaksen. Yeah, it's just a little different.
Tallak.
But it's a beautiful name. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's my ex-husband's family's name. It's Norwegian. I'm Irish and Italian.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So tell us just a little bit more about so what are you doing anything? Your book is already out, it's already won awards, but anything else that's happening with you like that we want to share? Because and again, everyone, the notes in my show notes will definitely be all of Kelly's information and her her web, like maybe your website, you can give that to me and I'll make sure that I get that all in there. But tell us anything that's coming up exciting for you that you just want to share that's really important to share today.
Well, yes, I am going on the influencers cruise that's coming up. We're cruising all over the Caribbean where we will be speaking and meeting others. But I do put on my website all of my events, all of my speaking events. I do have a YouTube channel if people want to follow that. I do share a lot of information. There's some meditations on there. I'm also always open to a free consultation. Nobody has to sign up with me. They can talk to me.
Oh,
I'm always willing to talk to you. I'm always willing to help you through things. I want to see everybody find themselves again. I really do, because on a collective level, this is what's going to change the world. I don't think that people understand that the reason that, the shadow of the planet is all of us collectively not healing our shadow selves. So if we can start understanding that we're all human and that we all try our best, the more love we put out, believe me, the more love people receive, the more we help them heal. If we hold them in resentment, they won't heal. And we shouldn't pity them either. Don't pity, don't feel
no.
sorry for them, because what you're doing is you're telling them that they're stuck. What you want to do is say, I have compassion for what you're experiencing, but I know that you are a valuable human being and that you will learn again how to come back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Or you ask them, how can I support you on this journey? You
100%.
know, I do have one pet peeve. Don't tell people to get over something, because you don't
Oh,
realize things that are important to them, that have meant a lot to them, that they have lost, is very painful. And to tell someone to get over it, you're really basically bringing them right back to their childhood wound where they were not heard, not valued, and not seen. So the best you could say to them is, I see that you are going through something, and please let me know how I can support you at this
yeah.
time. That's all you have to say. That's
Yes.
all they need, is for you to just have that compassion and validate that what they're going through is
Mm-hmm.
painful for them. Instead of telling them, can't you just let it go? Believe me, if they could, they would have.
Oh, 100%. It's like you're telling them something they don't know. Yeah. Hello.
Right. Well, what
Yeah.
you're saying is it didn't mean anything to them. That couldn't have meant
Doesn't
anything.
matter.
Let it
Yeah.
go. Maybe it was very, very important, even if it's a loss of a dog, a cat,
Oh,
or a child who is, having a hard time, or a divorce even, There's no timeline on grief for
mhm.
anybody. So
Yeah.
don't place a timeline on anybody, and just try to understand they are trying to process, just like as they were as children. But now they're trying to process again. Hold the space. Just hold the space of love and compassion. No
And just
pity.
in, yeah. Just I think the listening and the really that you matter and that what you're saying matters and that I hear you. I think that's the
Exactly.
biggest thing I've noticed with some of my guests is just that they have people, the clients that just they try to say something and either they're interrupted or they're cut off or they're put down for it or there's something and they
Oh,
don't, it's like they don't have a voice. I think that's why I became a professional singer in my younger days,
oh,
because I honestly felt that was the only place I could actually express myself without being shut up, you
oh, I
know.
love that. I love that.
So I do understand where you're coming from. That just, yeah, and that's what we want to be, is compassionate and supporting each other, and
100%.
that's all that
100%.
counts. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, Kelly, thank you so much for, what a pleasure to meet you. I'm just
Thank you,
loving this.
Sue. It's a
And
pleasure to meet you as
yeah,
well.
I'll be in touch for sure. And everybody, thank you so much for joining us on Living and Loving Each Day. This is the place where I just want you to feel comfortable to learn and glean things. And when you see a guest that you really admire and want to know more, please just go to the show notes and I'll make sure everything is there for you. And also go to suejansen.ca, which is in Canada. And that's where all my information and my courses, and I'm doing a ChatGPT for seniors course coming up just to kind of get over that barrier, because there's so many seniors are afraid. I want to take that fear away and say, we can do this. Like we've done so much, we can do this too. So everybody, again, thank you for joining us. And thank you again, Kelly, for being a beautiful guest. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay.
Appreciate it.